Hello, I'm Andy, and I'm going to read a program called Tarot December 2019 Monthly Horoscope. And this is for you coming from Virgo. First, let me give you my email address, which is andyhoro9, ANDIHORO9, the number 9 at gmail.com. Now, the first card that I'm going to pull will be to talk to you about your first 15 days of December, you coming from Virgo. And the first topic I'm going to talk about is your job areas for you coming from Virgo. Now, this is a card. It's called the Wheel of Fortune. Of course, it's supposed to be a lucky card. But I also see signs on this planet, on this card, saying that you can be let down and cheated, and you have to be very careful that whatever you say and do in the first 15 days of December regarding your job, you can attract a lot of hostility or create a lot of provocation. That's all you need to be careful about from this card. This card, on the bright side, shows that you can get a promotion, you can get more money because the card shows that expansion in what you do in job is possible. So remember these two things. Now I'm going to shuffle the cards again and talk to you about business, if you are in business. So let's see what the card says. For you coming from Virgo, well, the card says that you are all fired up to be very competitive in business and to go looking for expansion and having the excitement of wanting to do things on a bigger scale. But the planetary signs here warn you that you can be let down and disappointed if you're not careful. So treat promises made to you as very superficial. You got to more than promises are necessary. Money on the table is necessary. So treat the first 15 days as using the reality of things rather than the promises of things. That way you'll be much safer. Overall, I don't consider this card as negative. All I say is there's too much fire around, and that means too much activity around, and the planets of ego are also there. Control all that. Now, regarding romance, and we'll start with a new romance first, how it's going to pan out for you. You coming from Virgo. All right. Well, this is a card that says you have not met this person before, but this person is doing very well financially. And he may come from overseas or may come from quite far, even in your own country. So it's very exciting when you get a card like this because you don't know who the person is going to be. So it could be a very unexpected meeting as well. So always dress well and look good when you go out with the possibility of meeting people like this. The only downside of this is that there can be a tendency of aggressiveness from this card, a tendency of egoism in this card. So you may meet somebody who is very touchy and very volatile in behavior as well. Take your time about it because it's not exactly the perfect card. Now, what about the romance which you are already having? How is the first 15 days of December going to be? So let's look at the ongoing thing. This is a much better card. This is a card that basically brings the planet Venus to bring out the niceness of the romance that you are and that you have already been in. And so it produces many good possibilities. And the chances of doing things for yourself on a good scale are very good. Excuse the phone. So I will look at this card and tell you that the chances of improving the ongoing romance is very good, and the chances of doing well in your ongoing romance is very good. Some fiery planets, like you can see the sign of Mars on the top, they may show that you may become a little bit aggressive. So try to retain or try to control the aggressive part of you. Now we are going to go to your marriage areas and let's see what that can happen. So your marriage areas are like this. This card will show that. Well, your marriage areas show that somehow whatever you want to show or talk to your wife is not sinking in basically. There's too much stubbornness either from you or from your marriage partner. And the difficulties show that trouble will therefore develop. What you have to do with this card is to control your temper, control your ego. At least from your side, don't show that. If your partner side shows that, stay calm. Because this is not a card that shows breakdown. It just shows the tendency of vibrations are very strong. So you take it easy and things will be better. Now we will go to the last 16 days of December. And let's see what the card says for that. Last 16 days. We'll start with your job area. Last 16 days for you coming from Virgo. And let's see what the card says. And now I pulled a card called the Wheel of Fortune, which means that fortune shines on you. So the last 15 days, you can have more security in your job. The chances of getting better blessings or more money or more good position are all there. If I look on the downside of this card, I'm going to worry about only one thing, which is that you may have to move departments of some kind. There's some movements going on. So take it in your stride and keep the peace, and you'll be just fine. Now about business. Let's see what the card says about business in the last 16 days. Ooh, wow. This is a very aggressive card. It says you are all fired up, the passion in you in the area of business to fight the competition and to take things head on. Well, you can do that, but I would urge you that the last 15 days from this card, I would worry that two things you need to control: your exposure to risk and also exposure to your ego. So these two things together bring your tolerance to be very low. And so you have to be cautious in the business or job side not to show that. Otherwise, you're going to have some problems. Just remember that. Take the soft approach, and business side and job side will improve. Now about your romance. What about a new romance that you may get? Let's see how that will pan out. Well, from this card, I can see complications. Complications mean that the person who's interested in you may already be involved with somebody else. That's one complication. And so you have to worry to take your time in the last 16 days of December. Don't rush into things. Tell yourself, whatever happens, take your time. It's a classic card with the signs of Mars on the top and Venus on the bottom. That's a classic card of a fated problem that you're going to meet, which is not going to make you happy. So take your time before you give your heart away in the last 16 days, where the area of romance is concerned. Now, what about your ongoing romance? Let's see how that's going about for you in the last 16 days of December. That's a much better card, a much better card. There says there's harmony. This is perfect harmony from this card. And it shows that love can flow from one area to another. So your ongoing romance will be much more stable than if you find a new one. So make everybody happy by being the nicest person on earth. And you will see that in the last 16 days, you'll find solutions to make your romance side happy. And what about marriage? Now let's see what the card says. You're coming from Virgo. All right. Oh, it's a very nice card for you. It's a card of infinity, which means that long-term security is there. The signs of Jupiter simply mean don't dominate. The sign of Venus simply means don't waste money. So try and control these two things in your marriage areas. They may upset your partner. And otherwise, it's a sign of eternity, which means long-termness is very secure. So you're doing just well in your marriage area. Now we're going to talk about your lucky ages. So let's talk about your lucky ages. Let me shuffle the cards and let's see for you, Virgo. Is it? Yeah, Virgo. Now, what do the cards say? Who will be these lucky ages to get everything right in December? For you coming from Virgo. Your lucky ages with this card is a card of Saturn and the card of Mercury. So my mind will go to, if you happen to be the ages of 21 or 30 or 39 or 48 or 57 or 66 or 75 or even 84, you're going to be one very lucky person somewhere in some area of your life. Will it be the job, the business? Will it be the romance, the marriage? Something is going to work very, very well for you. If you're not of these ages, you'll need to see me one day for a 90-minute session. And during the 90 minutes, based on your date of birth, time of birth, and looking at your palms, I'll be able to tell you exactly how to go about things. We'll talk about that later. Now I'm going to give you your lucky dates, DATES. And from this card, for the month of December, your lucky dates are going to be the 5th, the 14th, and the 23rd. The 5th, the 14th, and the 23rd. The signs on this card show that. So these are going to be morning, afternoon, evening, nighttime, very, very lucky. Apply them for anything that you want to do, romance, marriage areas, whether job, business areas, whether even wanting to go to the casino. I would say these will be very lucky days for you and nights as well. Now, what about colors? I'll pull this card for you here. All right, from this card, there are many signs of planets here on this card. I'm going to choose the reigning planet, the Sun and Jupiter. And so from there, I'm going to concoct the colors purple. So I would say wear plenty of purple during the month of December. It'll give you that energy of expansion, the energy of greatness, and you'll be able to do wonderful things in job and business and all over the place. Now about direction energy. So let's say what the card says. 9 planets were called to surround Earth. So when we look straight or back or sideways, we'll be facing one planet or another. And so let's see what the card says for inspiration. Which direction should we use? Well, it's the card of Jupiter. So I'm going to say face north. Face north as much as you can. And you will see the inspirations and that good luck coming, whether financially, job-wise, business-wise, whether love-wise, whether in any wise. So face north for that inspiration in whatever you're attempting to do. Well, I have a 90-minute session, which will cost you USD $50 to know your next 8 or 9 years based on your date of birth, time of birth, and looking at your palms. And I will be able to then give you plenty of energies, like your lucky colors and your lucky days and your lucky gemstones and your lucky directions and so on and on. And I'll show you how to reach that supernatural energy that you have within you, which I have and which everybody has. And once you know how to contact that energy, then you can be better than the rest in the world. And I'll teach you together, you and me, how to formulate your personal lucky lottery numbers once and for all. So send me that email at andyhoro9, ANDIHORO9, the number 9 at gmail.com. And I'll come back to you as soon as I can so that we can experience this 90 minutes to give you the best of everything for your next 8 or 9 years, which I will cover for you. Until then, thank you and goodbye.